Hi, I'm Ken Fossen. Today we have a superintendent's question regarding student fees. The question goes like this. I had a mother call me today and question whether we could charge a fee for the 5th grade fine arts field trip. That field trip is conducted each year on the first Friday in May. It involves a day trip to visit the Jocelyn Art Museum in Omaha. I explained to the mother our student fees policy and told her that we waive the fees for students of poverty as required by law. She was still of the opinion that we were not permitted to charge the fee, but she grudgingly paid it anyway. Are we okay charging that fee? I don't think so. Maybe a little historical perspective will help in understanding the student fees issue in Nebraska. In around 2001, give or take, some parents brought suit against some school districts arguing that student fees were not permitted by the Nebraska Constitution. In particular, the parents cited Article 7, Section 1 of the Nebraska Constitution, which states, "The legislature shall provide for the free instruction in the common schools of the state of all persons between the ages of 5 and 21 years." As a result of the suit, the legislature, in its next session, adopted the Public Elementary and Secondary Student Fee Authorization Act. The purpose of the act was to provide authority for school districts to charge certain fees that, in the opinion of the legislature, did not violate the constitutional requirement regarding free instruction. So let's take a look at the legislation starting with Section 79.2.127, which provides as follows. Except as provided in Section 79.2.133, that section refers to fee waivers for certain students. We'll discuss that section a little later. The governing body may require and collect fees or other funds from or on behalf of students, or require students to provide specialized equipment or specialized attire for any of the following purposes. And here's the list. I guess we could call them the student fees top 10. Number 1, participation in extracurricular activities. Number 2, admission fees and transportation charges for spectators attending extracurricular activities. Number 3, post-secondary education costs. Number 4, transportation pursuant to Section 79.241 regarding out-of-district students not qualifying for free transportation. 79.605 regarding non-resident students. And Section 79.611 regarding students living within 4 miles of the school. Number 5, copies of student files or records pursuant to Section 79.2.104. Number 6, reimbursement to the school district or educational service unit for school district or educational service unit property lost or damaged by the student. Number 7, before and after school or pre-kindergarten services offered pursuant to Section 79.1104. Number 8, summer school or night school. Number 9, parking. And number 10, breakfast and lunch programs. Following the top 10 list, Section 79.2.127 goes on to prohibit all other fees. It states, except as provided in this section, which is the list of the 10 we just discussed, and Section 79.2.127.01 regarding donations, which we'll discuss later, Section 79.2.131 regarding musical instruments, and Section 79.2.132 regarding school stores, a governing body shall not collect money from students. After authorizing these 10 specific fee categories, the legislature added the requirement that one of the fee categories must be waived for students who qualify for free or reduced price lunches. Section 79.2.133 provides that each governing body shall establish a policy waiving the fees and providing the items otherwise required to be provided by students pursuant to subsection 1 of Section 79.2.127. That section regards extracurricular activities for students who qualify for free and reduced price lunches. Please note the waiver applies only to subsection 1 related to extracurricular activities. It does not apply to the other fees such as parking, lost or damaged property, copies of records, etc. Okay, now let's return to our question regarding the 5th grade field trip. As we examine the categories of fees that are permitted in section 79.2.127, we see that the only fee category that might apply to this field trip is the first one, extracurricular activities. In section 79.2.126, the legislature defined extracurricular activities as follows. Extracurricular activities mean student activities or organizations which are supervised or administered by the school district, which do not count towards graduation or advancement between grades, and in which participation is not otherwise required by the school district. So there are 4 requirements for an activity to qualify as an extracurricular activity, all 4 of which need to be met. First, is it a student activity? I don't think so. The district made the decision regarding the annual 5th grade field trip, not the students. So it looks like the district fell short of the definition right out of the gate. But let's proceed with the analysis anyway. Second, is the activity supervised or administered by the district? Yes. Check. Third, does the activity not count towards graduation or advancement between grades? I don't know for sure what count towards means, but I'm guessing it was an attempt by the legislature to distinguish between the district's required curriculum and its optional activities available to interested students. If that's the case, this requirement is not met either. This trip appears to be the fine arts lesson plan, if you will, for the 5th grade students on the first Friday in May. Fourth, is this activity not otherwise required? To answer that question, it might be more instructive to ask, is this a vacation day for those students who would prefer to stay home rather than go on a field trip? I suspect not. Therefore, the field trip would appear to be otherwise required. Just as a side note, it might be interesting to know if the school's calendar designated the first Friday in May as a required student day. If so, then the follow-up question would be, did the school count this day towards meeting the instructional hours requirement of Rule 10? I'm guessing the answer would be yes. If so, then the issue would become moot because the district, by its own reports, considered such time as instructional time, and the Constitution requires that instruction in the common schools be free. After all this discussion and analysis, I want to make sure that no one jumps to the conclusion that all field trips at the elementary level will fail to meet the definition of an extracurricular activity. That would be an inaccurate conclusion. For example, if the superintendent had told us that the 5th grade field trip was scheduled over spring break and that all interested students were invited to attend, then the trip could qualify as an extracurricular activity, and therefore a student fee could be assessed, subject of course to the waiver of the fee for students qualifying for free or reduced priced meals. Finally, before leaving the topic of student fees and field trips, I'd like to add that donations can be accepted even though a student fee is prohibited. Section 79.2.127.01 provides that the Student Fees Authorization Act does not limit the ability of the district to request donations to defray the cost if the request is made in such a way that it is clear that the request is not a requirement. If you are thinking about requesting donations for field trips, here's some sample language you might want to consider. This is a curriculum-related field trip, so no fees are assessed for student participation. However, if parents are able to and desire to make a voluntary donation to help offset the cost of this trip, the donation would be greatly appreciated and would help ensure that the district is able to continue such trips in the future. The estimated cost of this trip is $blank per student. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.